Hi guys, so today we'll study Article 12 of the Constitution of India. I'm Tanya Singh and welcome to this channel. For today's video, I have arranged the case laws in a chronological fashion and let's get started. So when we study Article 12, what's the primary keyword that pops up into our head? It's the words the state, right? So Article 12 has its pivot around state, right? So for the word for it's important for us to understand the meaning of the term. So in state of West Bengal versus Subodh Gopal Bose, the year was 1959, and here Patanjali Shastri Justice had said that fundamental rights are only applicable against the state, right? And this is why we need to understand the term state, because if merely the word state refers to government, that would be an incomplete definition. I'll tell you why. Because now we are no longer a police state as we were when British Crown ruled us. We have chosen to give ourselves a constitution which ensures us some rights and some duties and some directives wherein we can achieve become a welfare state. And to become a welfare state, we need just not the parliamentarian sitting in a giant room deciding and making laws for us. We need actual agencies and regulatory bodies who do the job, right? And when that happens, when we have such institution working for us, it happens that our sometimes our rights will be encroached upon, and when that happens, we need some kind of remedy. To ensure that, we need to have an expansive definition of the word state. And now we'll look at the definition of Article 12, what's the bare text says, right? So we know point A and point B are very obvious in their description. They are talking about the central and state government, and point C is talking about local authorities within territory of India. They make rules, bylaws, etc. And then we have the term other authorities. So these two terms have been expansively dealt with by the Honorable Judiciary, and now we'll switch to look at that. So so the term local authority as dealt in point C, the first case that we need to study is BD Supply Company versus Union of India. The year was 1956, and here it was held by the Honorable Supreme Court that Income Tax Department is a part of state. So why? Because what does an Income Tax Department do? It is playing a role of executive, right? So hence it must be included in the definition of state. Now next case was Muhammad Yasin versus Town Area Committee. The year was 1952. Here municipal committee were declared as part of state because they were making some kind of a bylaw as a municipal committee is supposed to do, and because some of the laws were encroaching about the fundamental rights of the people, they came to the court and it was declared that yes, municipal committee is state. Next is the term other authority, and we'll look at the expansive things done by the Honorable Supreme Court. So and some other high courts as well. So see, other authority term is dealt in part D. Alright, so the first case is University of Madras versus Santabai. It was 1957, and here the principle of ageism generis was dealt by the Honorable High Court of Tamil Nadu. The High Court followed the principle of ageism generis to define the term other authority, and I'll tell you what they said. So they said that to define the term other authority here, right, we need to derive the color of the previous parts like A, B, C, whatever they are saying. We will have to give the similar definition to part D, Right. So a university cannot be a government or cannot be a local authority which is established by for performing governmental function, and therefore a university will not be considered as a state. Correct. Now this definition was regarded a little, let's say, what do you call it, a very narrow and they opted for a stricter rule of interpretation, which is kind of like it's restrictive, right? And for such kind of definition we need to have an open mind, and at least a beneficial rule of interpretation should be used. So this is what happened in Ujjumbai versus State of Uttar Pradesh. The year was 1962. The Honorable Supreme Court rejected the principle of ejusdem generis, and also in Electricity Board of Rajasthan versus Mohanlal, the year was 1967. The Supreme Court reiterated the point that we reject the principle of ejusdem generis for the term other authority, and the reason they gave was that the three categories, that is the A, B, C point of Article 12, have nothing in common. So when nothing is common, that means they are mutually exclusive categories, and if something is mutually exclusive, they cannot be said to have a common color to another category, which is part D, and therefore they rejected the principle, and correctly they held that we should go for another kind of a definition or approach. So next case is R.D. Shetty versus International Airport Authority. The year was 1979. Here Justice Bhagwati went for a twofold approach. One was that agency, that if I as a state have created an institution wherein I have an agency with it, so, or if I have an institution working under me as an agent, right? And secondly, if I have created an institution through law, in such scenario, these two will be considered as state. All right, and the entire bench also formulated some kind of a postulate to give us a direction that what amounts to state. So I've written that in black text, so we'll look at that. So yeah, if the entire share of the capital is owned by and managed by state, right? So you need to remember entire. Enjoys monopoly status, department of government is transferred to corporation. That means the corporation is being run by the government. There is a functional character. Please do remember this point. I'm gonna go and highlight it ahead. And deep and pervasive control and objective authority. All right, pretty like obvious from the bare text alone. But do remember this point, because this point was done away with. All right, in the future cases, which was Ajay Hasya versus Khalid Mujib. The year was 1981. Here, if the entire share, so same point, is controlled, entire share of capital is controlled by state. Degree of financial assistance, this was a newly added point. Monopoly status protected by state. Deep and pervasive control, fundamental right in question or functions of public importance, this was also new. And the corporation is led by the government. All right, so yeah, so they done away with this point. Why? Because it's not necessary that every agency performs a functional character of government in a sense. For example, ONGC or LIC, I don't think they are institutions that run on that kind of a scenario, that kind of a role where they perform any government function. One does life insurance work, the other is dealing with oil and natural gases and the trade and distribution of that. So yeah, that is not a governmental job in a strict sense, but they are considered as state. So this led to a very expansive view on this word on the term of other authority. So now this completes one part of the video, and we'll begin with some other facets related to the topic of Article 12, which is whether judiciary is state. So we need to understand that judiciary deals with and performs a multiple functions, right? It's not that we just adjudicate. We are no longer judiciary is no longer an institution of such kind. It performs various functions. Sometimes it's rule making, and other than that we do originally, which is inherent power of adjudicating cases. So when a judicial authority does a job which involves rule making, in that sense it is state. But when a judicial authority is doing its inherent work, whatever it's supposed to do, that is to adjudicate cases, then it is not state. So it won't attract Article 12. Alright. And next topic is private people or private corporations, can they be considered as state? So we have come from a very long journey on this topic. For the first time, this question was raised in 1987 in MC Mehta versus Union of India, and here Bhagwati Justice had said that yes, if there is a concept of agency between the said institution in question and the government, then yes, we can say that they will be held liable even if they are a private entity. But this not really, it didn't clearly answered, because when there is an agency, it is like implicitly we are signifying that yes, they are having some governmental association with them, and it didn't completely answer the question. But then came the case of MC Mehta versus Kamal Nath. The year was 2000, and then they laid down the public trust doctrine, where if there is a duty of the said corporation in question to if they owe a duty towards a larger group or public, then they will be held liable. And then comes the case of Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan. It's a very popular case. This case is based on sexual harassment at workplace. Here also the private individuals and private authorities who run institution where women are involved at their workplace, they owe the duty towards the women to make sure the workplace is safe. So that's it for today, and I hope you liked this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below on what topics you want me to make video. And happy learning. Goodbye.